Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of TwizzCast. Today, we are extremely fortunate to bring you up to speed on the upcoming PTR launch of StarCraft Universe. Joining me today is one of my regular co-hosts, Archon. It is very good to have you back, sir. Hello.
It is so good to be here, Twizz. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited about this game and talking about it.
Yeah, you and I both, brother, man. So, and also joining us today is the lead developer for StarCraft Universe, Mr. Ryan Winzen. Welcome to the show, sir.
Twizz, how's it going, man? Really excited to be here. I've been excited to be on the show since I met you at BlizzCon.
Oh, dude, it's going to be a good one, and that it was so crazy the way that I met you at BlizzCon, and we got to talking about this, and here we are today, man. So I'm very, very excited. This is going to be a great time, dude. So here is what we are going to do, everybody. Throughout this interview, Ryan will share with you all the details and how-tos in StarCraft Universe. I'm also going to be playing a lot of never-before-seen footage, so you as a viewer can see exactly what we are talking about. Now, just before we get into that, though, Ryan, can you give me just a real quick crash course on your team and how this all got started and everything like that?
Yeah, sure. Well, this started, back in 2010. We've been working on this thing for a long time. But long story short, I've created a team of basically contractors from all over the world. I contract, we got a guy from China, a guy from Romania, and then we got, a few guys from all the United States, and we've come together and we've just started to build this project, and we've got about 9 contractors, intermediate contributors, and then me and my good friend Philip Meyer. We work directly on the game full time. So, okay. But recently we've had we did the Kickstarter. We were able to raise about $85,000 in 1 month from the awesome StarCraft community, and yeah, we've probably put over 6,000 man hours into this thing over the last 3 years, and it's been quite an endeavor.
Dude, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So, yeah, and I actually, a long time ago, not a long time ago, but I covered the Kickstarter campaign that you guys were doing on TwizzCast and everything. That's how I actually found you, and, that's how I knew who you were when I walked past you at BlizzCon and everything. So, so very cool, man. Well, let's take a quick look at the efforts that have paid off. I have got a lot of people that are listening, and they are wondering, what exactly is StarCraft Universe? What is it like? What does it compare to? What's it all about, man?
Yeah, so basically StarCraft Universe is, it's basically a combination of World of Warcraft, Diablo, and StarCraft. All the biggest Blizzard franchises. We wanted to take, a lot of the combat mechanics and elements of both Diablo and World of Warcraft and combine those with the StarCraft 2 setting. And that's what we were really trying to tackle and get across to the players is, this is a thing now. This is possible, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen through the StarCraft 2 arcade. So that's basically what's going on.
Wow, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really cool. And on a side note, can I ask, is this the first time a Kickstarter's been done for a StarCraft or Warcraft map that you're aware of?
Yes, yeah, and I'm not actually even sure how many mods have been able to do Kickstarters. Blizzard put in their end user license agreement and their terms of use that you can accept donations if you're an arcade developer, as long as you meet their guidelines and their requirements, and you don't overstep your bounds. Especially by trying to create a game like outside of the StarCraft 2 engine or whatever and sell it on your own, you're totally able to do that. And actually, we were the first, but I don't think we're going to be the last. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Night of the Dead, which is another StarCraft 2 arcade map, recently reached their Kickstarter goal. So I think they made like $7,500 on Kickstarter. So this might be a trend that we're seeing here.
How cool!
Yeah, that's really cool. So on this coming Monday, January 27th, 2014, people will be able to play StarCraft Universe on PTR for the first time. So how do they log in and start playing this game we're going to be talking about?
Right. So basically what you do is you open up StarCraft 2 like you normally would. If you have the Starter Edition, if you have the Normal Edition, doesn't matter. You go into the main menu, you click on the Arcade tab, and then the easiest way to find it is you use the Search tab, and you just type in SC Universe into the Search tab, and then that'll bring up our game. Now, currently, if you do that, it'll bring up Chronicles of Fate, which is our prologue trailer, or our prologue, tutorial map, if you will, that introduces you to the game, teaches you how to play the game. But on January 27th, when you do this, that will pop up, and also the PTR will pop up, which is a multiplayer experience with all the core features of our game.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's really cool. And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, anyone can play it, right? You don't have to spend any money. You can download the starter version for free and just hop right in.
Yep, exactly. Just download this starter edition of StarCraft 2. We'll have links all over the place on our website. And also, we're setting up a button on our personal website at upheavalarts.com where people can just go and click play, and then they'll just be able to select their region from that button, and then they'll be able to start up right then and there, just from our website.
Wow.
So we'll have a launcher there.
That's really cool.
That's awesome. So this is completely everything you guys are going to see. Free to play, jump in. One quick reminder though, it is PTR. This is public test realm, okay? So there's going to be glitches, there's going to be bugs.
Alpha.
Alpha PTR, I stand corrected. So, okay, well, very good, dude. Very good. So here I am sitting at the character selection screen. What is available on there as far as customization goes?
Right, so we've got two different races, standard races. We got the Terran and we've got the Protoss. Now, if you're a World of Warcraft player, you might be used to the whole, warring factions thing. You got the Horde, you got the Alliance, and they're pitted against one another. In StarCraft Universe, these races are actually allied. So the race is just more about the actual classes that are within that race, and your appearance, and your actual your role in the StarCraft universe. So each race has 4 different classes. You got the Marine, the Medic, the Ghost, and the Firebat for the Terran, and you've got the Zealot, the High Templar, the Dark Templar, and the Preserver for the Protoss. Once you've gone through and you've looked at all the different races, you'll see their starting abilities, you'll see their lore, you'll see what they can be built for as far as their class roles go. You'll then be able to select their size, the scale of the character. Do you want a little short ghost, or you want a big ghost, or a little firebat or big firebat? Whatever. You'll be able to pick how big your character is, and then you'll be able to select their color. You can select their starting weapon. I'm going to talk real quick about starting weapons. There are 3 different starting weapons, and each weapon in StarCraft Universe is effective against different types of enemies. So even though no weapon is technically stronger than another weapon, there are a lot of different weapons that you can collect in the game that will benefit your character depending on the situation that they're in and what enemy they're fighting against. You can also level these up so you can keep them with your character as long as you want. So if you find a weapon that you think looks really cool, or you like the stats that are on that, you can level that weapon with your character in 2 different ways as the game goes on. You can also, obviously, this comes standard with any RPG. You can now select your gender. So we've created over 80 models, 80 custom assets for StarCraft Universe. Ghost Nova has put a lot of time into it. He's our 3D modeler. So we've now got males and female models in the game. And this is a big one. We were able to go into the World of Warcraft assets and pull out 109 different World of Warcraft animations and port them over to our models, thanks to Delphinium Key from China. He's one of the recent guys that we brought on the team, and he's done some really, really, really great work in pulling those animations over, because that is no easy task.
That is insane.
That's amazing.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm excited about this.
No, that's really cool. I really liked how you had the 3 different roles for each class. So if I wanted to play a healer, I could spec my character for that role, right?
For the medic and the preserver, you can see it's a little different. So each character has a pool of about each class has a pool of about 30 different abilities, and you can allocate these abilities to your skill bar. Each ability is worth a certain amount of combat weight. So based on this big pool that you'll get through ranks 1 to 50, you can select these abilities and put them on your skill bar to kind of build the character how you want. And then on the character selection screen, there are three different main roles that I suggest as the developer that you can build those characters for.
Okay.
That's really cool. All right, so I've created my character and customized them out. I get into the game, and right off the bat, these loot rules pop up. Can you tell me about the loot rules and what that's about?
Yeah, sure. So loot rules, we basically wanted to just make the whole loot system a little bit more efficient in our game than it is in a lot of other RPGs. Like in Diablo, for example. Oh, excuse me, I got some internal gas going on here.
It happens.
Like in Diablo, for example, you're always going around, click, 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 click on the ground. In World of Warcraft, you're always clicking on the corpse and picking up stuff, and that's cool and everything. But we wanted to make our game fast-paced in that, so you're constantly moving forward, fighting through combat and everything. So we set up these loot rules to help distribute loot in a way that will be expedited. So the first one is automatic, and with the automatic loot rule is you can just select automatic, and it'll automatically distribute loot throughout your party, automatically roll on everything internally, except for like extremely rare items. You'll still be able to roll on those. Semi-automatic is basically you'll roll on a lot of things, but you won't roll on junk or consumable items, stuff like that. And then in manual, you'll roll on every single thing that drops, and you'll be able to need or greed just like in World of Warcraft.
Awesome.
That's really cool. And then after you choose the loot rules, you also have options for difficulty settings. They look kind of similar to Diablo?
Correct. Yeah. So we have 4 different difficulty settings. We've got the standard novice, we've got veteran, we've got expert, and master. And each one of these difficulty settings progressively increases and exponentially increases the difficulty of the game, but also increases the loot that you're going to gain from killing those enemies, the loot and experience. So obviously the harder you work to kill something, the more you should be rewarded for it. So that's what that's about. We wanted to set up the game so it would cater to players of all different levels of gameplay, and I think we've done a pretty good job with that. We played one of the final bosses on master difficulty with like super strong gear, and we had a really difficult time even beating him. Actually, I'll just be honest, we didn't beat him. But it's funny because we took a page out of Blizzard's book, and Blizzard said when they were developing Diablo 3, they wanted Inferno mode to be so hard that even as the developers, they couldn't beat it. And once it was at that point, they would double the difficulty, and that's how they said that they made Inferno. So we're taking a page out of their book, and as a developer, I know that players are going to figure out a way to beat our game on the highest difficulty setting. And obviously, if they can't, or if there's we'll go back and nerf stuff and tweak things as needed to suit everybody's playstyle. So
okay, all right, man. Well, no, that's
the difficulty system in a nutshell.
Nice. Very nice, very nice. So, okay, well, let's. Okay, here I am. I'm off to the races. All right, I am fully customized out. I'm ready to go. I log in. I'm looking at the UI, and you touched on this a little bit earlier. I want to expand a little bit more. It has icons and other things that I'm kind of used to seeing in other games. How is your UI set up? What does this all mean?
Right. So at the bottom of the screen, you've got your ability bar, which is pretty standard to a lot of online RPGs. You've got your 5 starting abilities that are set up there. You've got menu options in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. You've got the mini map in the top right-hand corner. You've got your player's stats, and then you've got your target. in the middle above the ability bar, and this is set up kind of like the Old Republic's user interface in that regard. And then anybody in your party is going to be on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll be able to view all of their stats as well. Also, the UI is completely customizable, so you can move around the elements as you need to.
That's huge.
That's something I think a lot of people wish we had in other MMOs as well. I was surprised at how easy it was to move around the UI.
Yep, exactly. And I know I just showed this, but I want to talk a little bit more about like viewing your character, his bags, and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. So, like, you can press C to open up your equipment panel, and that has, your character. You got all his stats. You've got everything that he has equipped on the left dialogue. On the right dialogue, you've got all the items that are in your inventory. And yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty standard stuff when it comes to your inventory.
Okay.
You can left click on icons that are in your inventory, and it'll make a drop-down menu where you can move things around inside your inventory, equip them, destroy them, set them to your skill bar. It's got a lot of functionality.
Yeah. It seems like there's like it's a lot of the same core features that you see in World of Warcraft and stuff. It's set up very similarly, where you can take something out of your bag, you can put it on your toolbar, and use it for whatever you need to use it. It's just a real quick, almost like a hotkey type thing. Yeah, but as with any MMO that starts up, I mean, the biggest shock factor is second number one, when you are there and you are playing the game and you have all of this stuff that you're looking at, and it's like, what are all these abilities? What are all these spells? What do I do with these, with these bars? How do I access this stuff? But it's set up really nice, and even if you don't like the way it's set up, it's highly customizable, just like you said. So that's a big winner there.
Yeah, it was definitely very intuitive.
Yeah. One thing I do want to talk about is you'll notice when you open up the equipment panel, all the stats are color coded, right? So like for example, crit and crit power is orange, green. Life regeneration is green, shield regeneration is light blue. Basically, I wanted to color code all the different stats in the game because you know how in World of Warcraft, for example, item color is determined by rarity, right?
Sure.
So like a purple is rare, or orange is legendary. So we don't really have that in our game. The items, like the color on the items, the text is actually associated with what stats are connected to that item. So we wanted people to be able to visually and quickly see what an item is helping to build inside of their inventory. So if you have like a purple green item in your inventory, that is associated with energy regeneration or energy and life, right? Or if you have a blue-orange, that's shields and crit. So we've sort of eliminated the rarity by color, and we're associating color with stats now.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know that because it's different.
Yeah, and while you were talking about the gear, you said earlier there's not a big range from the gear you're getting in the beginning and getting later on. The power pretty much stays the same. That seemed really cool. Is that so that players that are new to the game can play with someone who's already put in 100 hours or so?
Yeah, that's definitely part of the design. The other thing is that we wanted to eliminate the whole idea that you need to constantly grind for stuff and then trash your old stuff. It can become a very tedious and repetitive process. So you can find an item with the right kind of stats that you're looking for your character, and then instead of trying to find a better one later on, you can just take that one, and as the game goes on, you can enhance it and make it more powerful with your character as you progress.
That's really cool. All right, so when I start the game, where am I at? We see a bunch of NPCs standing around. What's this all about?
Yeah, so basically, in the PTR, you're going to have a bunch of vendors around. You're going to have you're going to have vendors that sell items. You're going to have class mentors that teach you abilities as you level up. You're going to have 2 mission leaders, which are going to actually start the game. There's so much stuff.
But it's basically like your
all
center
kinds of
town. I mean, that's basically everything you need is in those NPCs right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crash course way of putting it.
Yeah.
So basically, the NPCs that are in the starting area sell or distribute in some way, shape, or form all of the core features that will be in StarCraft Universe. So when you play the PTR, you're playing almost everything as far as content goes that we are putting into the final game, so that you can test it out and you can help us balance the core features, the core gameplay, and the fun factor. And these vendors are basically what gets our content to you.
I see.
Yeah, it's really nice to have everything all in one spot right there.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's. I mean, you know what? It's something that everybody can relate to. It's like your Stormwind, your Orgrimmar, your everything. Which it's your hometown where everything you need is right there. So it totally makes sense. So okay, I'm looking at all my gear and everything. What do you have? And you touched on this again, so let's expand on it a little bit more. What do you have as far as enhancing this stuff, and how does that work?
Yeah, so basically, any piece of gear that you have, with the exception of your starting weapon, you can enhance. And to do this, you have to collect things called high-yield minerals. And high-yield minerals are dropped from, difficult challenges like killing a boss or completing a mission. And when you get these high-yield minerals, you'll be able to take them to your enhancement specialist. And then you'll put your whatever item it is that you want to increase in power with the high yield mineral inside of this icon box at the vendor, and then you'll click enhance. And you'll also see these stats that are on the left hand side, and the stats tell you what the success rate is of enhancing your gear, how much it's going to cost, and what the failure penalty is if enhancing the item actually fails. So if your item enhancement fails at really, really high levels, you have like a level 15 item, max is 20, right? It could decrease your enhancement level if you fail, or it could destroy your item if it fails, right? But the cool thing about the high yield minerals that you collect is a lot of the high yield minerals have bonuses that prevent these penalties from actually happening, or increase the success rate of enhancing your gear. So it's a pretty big feature in the game.
Wow, dude.
That's
okay,
really cool.
So speaking of gear, is there a way that you can craft your gear type? Is there like in WoW we have schematics and stuff like that drop off of bosses?
Yeah, absolutely. So especially in the PTR, we've got a ton of blueprints available, right? And so what a blueprint is it's just an item. You can buy it, and then you'll see that it has all of the components required to create an actual item from that. And when you go out and you collect all the different crafting components for it, and then you hit click on the item, and once you have all the items, you hit create blueprint, it will create the item for you, and then there will be a chance that it will have different attachment slots inside of it, right? So there's a chance you can get, in the PTR, you can get 1 to 3 attachment slots, which is kind of like socketing your gear in World of Warcraft. Yeah. So that's another really cool feature that we put into the game. Also, when you craft, it increases your crafting level, and the higher your crafting level is, the higher your chances of actually enhancing your gear or getting better sockets on your items.
Wow.
Yeah, I really loved how simple the whole system was. It was nice to be able to see just by hovering over everything you needed, if you had it or not. You didn't have to go out and try to find it and count all your mats. And, yeah, it made the whole thing really streamlined.
Yep. Now, the thing is...
Yeah, I forgot. You can see all the components you need to craft a piece of gear.
Yep. And one of the things that I wanted to, that I noticed is when you use a blueprint schematic that you buy with your minerals, once you use that and craft that piece of gear, that blueprint is gone. It's consumed in the process. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The blueprint gets used up, and then you permanently have that item. But you can always go and buy new blueprints. Like if you didn't like the outcome of whatever you crafted, you can get a new blueprint and try it again. Okay.
So yeah, it basically differs in the way that the crafting system works. I hate to keep comparing it to World of Warcraft, but it's what I know best. It's basically
right.
So that way you don't learn it, and then then you have to keep replenishing your materials to continue to craft that item over and over again. Once you use it, you lose it. So that's something that I wanted to point out. That is a difference between the two games, but I think it's cool, especially with how you can continue to level your gear once you craft it.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, well, very cool. Let's jump into the meat and potatoes of the game. Let's talk about the combat aspect and things like the targeting system. Like, you know, what's your target? What's going on with the targeting system? How do you target creatures? How does it work?
Yeah, targeting is really simple. All you do is you left click or you right click on the enemy that you want to target, or you can tab target them, you know, just like in World of Warcraft. And as soon as you do that, you can execute your auto attack toggle ability or any single target abilities on that creature.
Okay, and actually visually, it's really easy to see what you have targeted, because there's like a big box right there on the mob that you have targeted, which is really nice.
Yeah, and in addition to the tab targeting, you have radar icons as well, right?
Radar icons?
Raid icons.
Raid icon. Like you can put icons on enemies to mark them for different. So I'm not sure what you call them in game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So just like in World of Warcraft, you can right click on an enemy's portrait and it has a drop down menu. There's all these different things you can do, and you can mark them. So if you've got a really big boss fight, but you've got like two bosses and you want to focus one down first, you can mark that one, and then your team will know, okay, we gotta take this guy down. So
yeah, that's probably one of the things I was most impressed with was the targeting system. But go ahead.
Yeah, we also have a lot of different types of ways that you can attack your enemies, not just single targeting. You know, we've also got area of effect abilities. We've got active aiming abilities. We've got all kinds of different ways.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. The way you've manipulated, taken the WoW type combat and then added some aspects like aimed abilities, like you were saying. That's really cool. But overall,
Thanks.
I'm glad we were able to talk about the combat now, because we've been talking so much about the UI and gear and all that, but I think the most exciting part of the game has to be the combat. This is like a WoW Raider's dream, and it's also fulfilling this people's fantasy of playing StarCraft as an MMO. You're fighting bosses that have all sorts of different mechanics, just like WoW. The gameplay was a ton of fun trying to avoid these mechanics and find out who you're supposed to be attacking. So what kind of mechanics have you built into these different encounters?
Oh man, we've got all kinds of different mechanics going into our boss fights. There's one fight in the game where you're fighting the Leviathan from Heart of the Swarm, and he's basically latching on to a bunch of missile turrets that you have to protect with his tentacles, and he's shaking the screen, and basically you have to kill all these little adhesions that are stopping the turrets from firing at him, and the turrets are like the only way that you can kill him. You can't actually deal direct damage to him. But meanwhile, he's shaking the screen, and you've got ads running around, and you got to kill off all the ads so they don't destroy the turrets. I mean, we've got all kinds of crazy stuff going on. We've got one encounter where you're fighting two stone zealots, right? And when they turn orange, it means they're getting ready to attack you with one of their abilities. And one of the abilities, he turns red, and you basically have to use the terrain to your advantage. You have to use abuse line of sight to basically hide behind the pillars if he starts charging up one of his abilities and he looks at you. And as long as he doesn't have direct line of sight, he won't be able to actually hit you. We got one boss where you can't actually even kill him. You just have to stay alive for 3 minutes, and he shoots, laser. It's the Colossus, right? He's shooting laser beams all over the place, and you just basically have to stay alive for as long as you can. And then we've got some very standard boss fights too, where it's just like an in-your-face, like the Hybrid Titan. He's just kind of an in-your-face boss. He walks around the arena. He executes different abilities on you, and you just basically have to use your team to kite him and avoid his abilities while dodging explosions and stuff too. So we have all kinds of different boss raid mechanics, and it's going to be up to you, the players, to figure out how you need to beat these guys and overcome each situation.
That's awesome. So in case you couldn't tell from that description alone, it's as if you are playing WoW, but you're only raiding. Like, that's all you're doing is you're raiding boss after boss after boss, or working your way up through trash to get to a boss. I mean, it's very rating oriented. That's the best way that I can describe it, and it is epic because it's got some mechanics that I've seen in playing this game that I've not seen in WoW that are awesome. Oh, absolutely awesome. So for anybody, speaking of rating, that has rated with me or played almost any game with me, you will know that I am exalted with the floor, okay? I die on a regular basis. There's no hiding it. What I would really like to talk about is the resurrection mechanic and how that works, because I am a huge fan of this. Huge fan.
Right. So basically, when you die, which is going to be a lot in StarCraft Universe, you can actually go and drag your buddy's corpse. Like so for example, if Twiz dies in a game, which happens a lot, I can go up to his body and I can drag it across the screen. So if he dies in a bad spot that has a lot of enemies, or there's a poison gas cloud above him or something, I can move him to a different location, and then I can resurrect him in a safer area. And this mechanic was borrowed from EverQuest back in the day. They had a feature like this, but we just kind of polished it up a little bit and made it a toggle ability. You can even actually fight while you're dragging somebody's corpse. So it's pretty fun when you're dead and your buddy's dragging you around. You can still be in the experience.
That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely had some really fun times with that, dragging each other around.
It's things like that. It's like, it's so simple, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's new.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot of fun. Okay, so there has to be other ways to help aid me in battle besides this gear. What kind of cool toys have you guys put into the game?
We got tons of toys. We've got a Mercenaries that you can purchase. If you're familiar with like Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, you can have a mercenary dude that follows you around and attacks with you until he dies. You can summon mercenaries at any time in the game. So if you're at a boss that you have trouble with and you need some extra help, buy a mercenary before you go in, pop the mercenary once you're in combat, and hopefully he lives for longer than 10 to 15 seconds.
And again, and this ties back into what we were talking about earlier with the fact that all of your vendors are right there. So you can prepare yourself for battle, by doing this kind of stuff all beforehand, which is awesome, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So what else do you got, man?
Yeah, and when you summon a mercenary, they'll follow you around too, kind of like a lost puppy dog, and whatever you get into, they'll get into. And if he gets too far away from you, he'll actually teleport to your location too, so you don't have to worry about your mercenary, getting lost. He's stuck to you.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So we've also got vehicle renting. Or you can buy them outright. For example, you can rent a Thor, right, for like 7,600 minerals or something like that. And once you get a Thor, you can actually get inside of the Thor, and your abilities on your ability bar completely change your class role to be the Thor, and you gain new abilities that you normally wouldn't have, a ton more hit points, and you can fight a boss in your Thor, which is, it's just awesome. It's so much fun.
Yep. When we were testing it, dude,
we've also
you told
got a Hellion too, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
Oh, I was going to talk about the Hellion, but go ahead.
Oh no, well, like I was saying, the Thor. When we were testing this with you ahead of time, you were like, "What toy do you want?" I was like, "I want the biggest one," and you were like, "You want the Thor." So, dude, that was awesome. As you guys can see from the video that just played, it's pretty. There's some pretty mean toys in this. There's the Hellion too, right?
Yeah, the Hellion is probably my first personal favorite, and that's just because he can transform, and when he transforms, he has a different set of abilities than when he's upright. So you got the part where he's a vehicle, and you can drive him around, and you can be a little bit quicker. And then if you really want to get into some action, you can transform him into the actual like Hellbat version of the Hellion, and you can start using a whole different set of abilities, which I think is really fun. The Viking also has similar mechanics.
I couldn't believe how well the vehicles controlled while you were in them. It felt really good, and the models look like amazing that close up. There was one vehicle you didn't mention that we were all able to get inside of, and then one person would drive around and fire the turret.
Yeah, yeah. So one of our Kickstarter rewards is the armored personnel carrier, and it can carry up to 5 people in it. And you can actually have multi-passenger mounts. And if you're driving through a really rough spot and you just want to get everybody through safely, you can drive through with all your buddies in a super armored vehicle and get to where you need to be.
Nice, dude. That
really
is so
cool.
That is so awesome. So, again, I don't want to try and compare this to World of Warcraft too much, but there is a lot of similarities there, obviously. In WoW, I can go to a vendor and purchase items like health potions and stuff like that. Do you have, I would assume in that starting area, there's vendors that you can purchase this kind of stuff from for what you're going to need during the encounter?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Free Spaces, which is one of our vendors, he sells all kinds of different consumable items, potions, if you will. They're more like tech batteries, we name them differently because it's StarCraft, but it's pretty much the same thing. They're consumables, and they have linked cooldowns with one another, just like in Diablo, I believe. So, yeah, if you can prepare for, so you got all these different things you can prepare for combat with. You got vehicles you can buy mercenaries, you can buy consumable items. So if you're having trouble with any specific point in StarCraft Universe, you've got all these different goodies that you can pull in and help you get through any tough situations.
Dude, that is so awesome.
That's really cool. Now, I know this is obviously meant to be a multiplayer experience, and a lot of players out there are going to know, are they going to be able to duel each other with their characters?
Yeah, absolutely. We have PvP dueling built into the system. All you do is you go up to your buddy, target him, and type -duel, and as soon as you do that, it'll do a 5-second countdown timer. The duel will start, and may the best man win. After that, you get experience for winning, and then there's also like PvP statistics at the bottom of the screen that you can actually look at and view how many games you've played and what your win percentage is. So that is built in the game. And also, I just want to mention real quick, I was thinking last night, one versus one is fun and everything, but how cool would it be if we had like 5-player free-for-all built into the PTR?
Oh.
And so what I want to do is this isn't going to be in the upcoming release, but I want to actually create a mode that you can go into where you can get your whole team and everybody becomes everybody's enemy, and you guys fight to the death, and then lava comes up over the sides of the screen, so the longer the fight goes on, the smaller the arena gets.
Oh.
Pushes everybody together.
Dude, like a last man
So we're gonna
standing
put
type
that in.
thing, basically.
We're going to put that in. Exactly.
That's really cool.
Dude.
Nice. And you kind of rolled right over it, but one of the things I thought was most exciting is you get experience from dueling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a lot of experience, especially once you get to higher levels, but you do get experience for dueling, and I think that maybe players want to just duel, and if they want to just duel, they should be able to get stronger from just dueling. So why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think players are really like that.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I want to talk about a little bit more, you touched on it, is that PvP tab that's at the bottom of the screen. Now, there's a couple of other things that are down there, but when you click on the PvP tab, what does that open up? What does it show you? What's the purpose of it?
Yeah, the PvP tab just basically, first it'll show you, your arena rating, and we don't have arena set up right now, but it shows you that we do want to do that kind of stuff in the future. And then we've also got, your win percentage, how many games you've won, how many games have gone to sudden death, and then your losses, of course, too.
Okay.
So you'll be able to track and see how many times you've had your butt kicked, which is always fun.
That's right, dude. Oh gosh, hey, that'll be probably one of the tabs that I stay away from. I just don't want to. I don't want to see the shame. So, all right. Well,
you know what, Twiz? Just for you, we're gonna put a stat in the game so you can see how many times you've died.
Oh. God, the heartbreak number, dude. That is the heartbreak number. There's no doubt about it. So, oh gosh. Okay, well, before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about the soundtrack to this game. You guys have your own soundtrack, and that is actually what's been playing in the background of this interview the entire time. So, how did you guys come up with your own soundtrack? How did that work?
Yeah. so after news blew up about 3 years ago, about the beginning of our development, I approached David Orr, who's a guy who has been making music on Newgrounds for years, since I was in my teens, I believe. And David's a couple years younger than me, but I approached him. I sent him an email, through Newgrounds, because I was a huge Newgrounds fan back in the day. I said, "Hey, David, I'm working on this project. I've been fan of your music for a long time. Would you be interested in making a soundtrack for us?" And he was like, "Dude, I love StarCraft." So apparently he played StarCraft like all the time, and he's a really talented musician, and he said, yeah, I'll do it. And I said, well, I don't have any money, and he said, don't worry about it, man. We'll figure something out, later on down the road. I really want to do this. And so I was like, all right, man, let's do it. And he's been working on the soundtrack in his spare time for about 2.5 years now, and it's now a complete track. It's like 28 minutes of music long, and we got a ton of great sounds for you guys.
That's awesome. That's
wow,
awesome.
That is, yeah.
It's very upbeat, very high tempo, fast paced, gets the adrenaline going. It's totally awesome. So that was a big win, man. Music can make or break the game sometimes, and it makes it emotional and everything too. So that's awesome. Well, everybody, the PTR goes live on the Blizzard Arcade on Monday, January 27th, 2014, which would be 3 days from right now. So make sure that you're checking this out. These guys did an absolutely amazing job. Ryan, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, and Upheaval Arts for putting together an unbelievably impressive game for the community to soak up.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. I mean, the controls feel amazing. It's tons of fun the entire time you play it. You guys have to check this out. You're missing out if you don't play it.
Absolutely. So.
And I just want to thank everybody in the StarCraft community for making this possible. If everybody would not have donated on Kickstarter, we would have been looking for jobs a while ago, and this never would have happened. So the Blizzard community in general is awesome. It's a great group of people, and I just want to thank everybody for coming together and making this thing happen.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us. The contact and website information for StarCraft Universe will be in the outro video, so stick around for that. So on behalf of BlizzPro, Upheaval Arts, and myself, we encourage you to game safe, love one another, and please, everyone within the sound of my voice, take care.
Be prepared to sacrifice all that we have ever known for one final chance at victory, for that will be the price we pay.